Welcome to Redhead Rewriting Reality by Kim Iverson. The story of my life as I figure out who I am after a lifetime of abuse and share my journey with that. Sharing the story of building my author career, the struggles, bettering self, and creating a new life. I'm a multi-genre author who publishes under Kimberly Sue Iverson. If you'd like to explore my work, visit KimberlySueIverson.com. This audio is intended for an adult audience. Themes and topics may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. Now, get yourself comfy and make yourself at home. Let's dive in. Mr. Finkle's grave error. As I said last week, I would share Mr. Finkle's grave error with you. You can find it available for free on any retailer if you'd like to keep it. Since I was playing around with story shorts and ideas last week, I might do another story creation post so you can see me actually create a story from start to finish. I'll show you the questions, the answers, and then just free write it out. More of an actual story than the ones I did last week. Also to help me, but also because that last snippet of a story is a bit vibrant in my mind. Did the guy lose his daughter? Was it another child? What happened? I'm plagued with curiosity and am quite the little curious kitten. So let's play with the twinkling little ball, shall we? So this is Mr. Finkle's grave error, read by the author herself, Kimberly Sue Iverson. Below is the link for the download off my site if you want it that way. I'm gonna be lazy and say search it out on a retailer if you want it that way. Only because by you searching it manually, it'll help me on there to get it and my name boosted in searches. Mr. Finkle's grave error. Dogs. They could drive a person batty. More so when said person wanted to relax on her day off. Charlie Nielsen leaned back on the couch and watched Loki pacing the floor between the kitchen and the living room. The Black Doberman was adamant he had to go out. Now. Loki, you just went out an hour ago. What is with you? He stopped in the entryway near the stairs. She sighed when he let out his infamous drawn-out whine. A whine that she was certain at this point he knew took her nerves out of their comfort zone and into a dangerous territory of no patience. A sound that normally allowed him to get his way. She stared at her dog, debating the odds that he'd allow her to relax. It was a beautiful Sunday morning. She'd been working all week, fielding calls for her boss at the law firm, and what she really wanted was just to have a few hours of becoming one with the couch. Some silence, some peace. The feet padding along the wooden floor behind her had other ideas. Flop, 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 they went back and forth. Flop, 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 they went again on her nerves of anything but steel. Another long, drawn-out whine that sounded like "Mom," and she grumbled beneath her breath. She jammed the bookmark into her book she was reading, trying to, then tossed it to the other side of the couch. The clock over the stovetop said 11:59 in the morning. His nubby little tail waggled back and forth. She narrowed her eyes at him. You are not my friend right now, mister. Once more he waggled his nub tail and spun in a circle, then bounced up and down on his front feet. Don't wag that nub at me like you're winning. She tried to scold him and failed. Loki rushed to the front door, nearly colliding with the large fern. Charlie winced, hoping they didn't topple together. Cleaning up an entryway full of dirt and leaves on top of everything else was not in her plans. Loki deftly scrambled and gathered himself at the last minute, only to slide into place in front of the door like a baseball player shooting for home. Grabbing the leash from beside the door amped up Loki's energy, but with a stern look from her, he sat down and let her leash him. Not that the short tail wasn't still twitching back and forth like crazy, so much that his backside was jiggling. Once outside, she let him lead her around the neighborhood. She figured once he had his walk, he'd go lay in his comfy bed near the fireplace, and she'd get her peaceful Sunday after all. In the distance, children laughed in their backyard. A few birds chortled, and the rumble of a car engine came and went, faint but there. She offered a smile to the older gentleman who lived on the corner and who was out working on his old pickup truck. He merely nodded in return and went back to work. It was once they were headed back up the street to her home that things went weird on Charlie. The wind stirred something into her eyes because it was suddenly very hazy. Or I'm even more tired than I thought. When her head grew dizzy, she stopped in front of her house. The cement walkway and asphalt neighborhood road blurred. She closed her eyes. Loki stopped beside her. She felt him lean against her leg. When Charlie reopened her eyes, she started. Where once stood her very modern craftsman-style home, now stood a cobblestone path, lined with hedges and roses. Her eyes bugged. She waved off a fly. Small, quaint cottages surrounded the one in front of her, with adorable emerald lawns and tiny beaten paths of dirt up to the front doors. There was no longer the laughter of children, let alone a car engine, though she did think she heard a horse neigh. Now, since she lived in the suburbs, she knew she had to be imagining that. Oh! Something crowed nearby. Was that a rooster? There are no chickens allowed in the city, let alone roosters. She blinked. Time spun crazily around her. Last thing she was conscious of, she was standing in front of her house. But this wasn't her house. She had the odd idea that what she knew as her house wasn't it either. A weird memory seeped in of her having left her house, but it was glass and metal. That too was wrong. She hated such cold exteriors and interiors. Her home was filled with wood and glass, plants and books, not the metallic stuff invading her mind, or the digital work surface of an alien desk. Now she was even more confused as thoughts of a life that wasn't hers came to mind. Things of which hadn't been invented yet. At least, that she knew. Holograms of phone calls she'd never made. Instant meals she'd never cooked. Artificial intelligence drivers that were part of the vehicle they drove. And yet here she stood in this weird little fairy tale neighborhood with no memory of this place whatsoever. Squeezing Loki's leather leash, she made sure that was real. He sensed her unease and checked on her. Charlie rubbed her thumb over the braided handle. A white-haired, elderly lady Charlie didn't recognize came from the house next door, which should have been her neighbor, who was a younger woman. She spied Loki watching her with a steady eye, ready to hand out far too many licks, and the gentle folds of her face suddenly went pale. Her eyes widened and a finger jutted out of plump hand to target Loki. "Demon!" she shrieked. "It's a demon!" She shuffled back into her small cottage and slammed the wooden door with a bang. Charlie twitched. "Geez, I know that steady stare of yours freaks some out, but man." Charlie took in the little home in front of her and tried to work it out. She tapped her sneaker on the ground, thinking she was imagining things. Maybe she'd passed out, but the ground was solid. She pinched herself. Nope, wide awake. "Oh dear." A soft-spoken voice came from behind her. She spun around to find a short male with gray hair standing behind her and Loki. Loki let out a warning rumble. Charlie shushed him. The older-looking fellow rubbed his forehead, pinched the bridge of his nose. "I made a grave mistake, didn't I? My old bladder didn't hold, and I needed a break. It was only for 5 minutes. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear." He shook his head at himself. Hi," said Charlie. "Who are you?" The rooster crowed in the distance, reaffirming her stance. There was one. The checkered vest he wore was tugged, the dark tie adjusted, and his crisp white shirt flattened as he straightened up. "Peter. My name is Peter Finkle." He wrapped an arm around his waist and gave her a slight bow. "And I am currently in charge of the reprogramming." He breathed out as if the whole world had just toppled over on itself. "There's been a grave error." He bobbed on his feet. "I'm sure to be fired now," he whined. Charlie motioned with her hands to act as a shrug. Loki stepped closer to sniff the fellow, and though he wasn't much taller than Loki stood, he simply stood there, letting the dog check him out. "What on earth are you going on about?" she said. Peter's face puckered. "Your dog sensed the change coming, didn't he? Some can," he explained as he waggled his finger at the dog. Peter cleared his throat, focusing on her. "You see, every 10 years we go through a reprogramming. Every 10 years we adjust the timelines. Either someone is sent forward in time or behind, or left where they are. Depends really on where they'd fit best, how best they fit the program. And you were not meant to be sent backward. You were to be sent forward in time." Loki licked the man's hand and abruptly twitched and sneezed. The man went to pat the dog's head and Loki stepped back, again letting out a warning growl. "Sorry, pup. Little static electricity. There's a little charge left on these old bones." Charlie's mind whirled. "Wait. So you're telling me the entire world is reprogrammed every 10 years, and people are sent back or forward in time?" She showed him her palms as if she could turn everything back. "I remember my house, my life, but things are jumbling. Weird. I have another life I can remember. Then I'm here, and Peter nodded solemnly as he cut her off. I am truly and sincerely sorry, miss. I thought I could take a bathroom break. I came back to hear an alarm, and it pinpointed you stepping out of events and into the wrong time. He eyed Loki, who wagged his nubby little tail, as if he knew full well what he'd done. Everything was flowing well. I began the program switch. He stuck his hands into the small pockets of the vest and took in the little neighborhood. And you were reprogrammed. He frowned as he turned back. Problem being, you stepped out of the house. So now you still hold old and new memories. Her mind hurt. Charlie tried to take it all in. What he was saying was that she was meant to go forward in time. You're telling me you reprogram our minds too? So these weird ideas in my head about a glass and metal home is where I'm meant to go. What I remember of my home is where I came from, but I don't know anything about this place. She pointed behind her. That woman freaked out seeing my dog. Peter eyed Loki. The dog's nose was to the ground, following a beetle. Yes, these dogs haven't become common yet. I imagine that gave her a right start. He pointed to the cottage she stood in front of. This is your home. I can't reset the program. Can't change your timeline. You've got to wait for the next 10-year adjustment and hope they believe you and Loki should go to the next timeline. Or you're shifted to where you were supposed to go in the first place. Really depends. I'll be gone by then. Charlie huffed. You messed my life up, and I'm supposed to be okay with it? I know nothing about this place. I don't even know where I am. As I said, my sincerest apologies. She remembered his comment when Loki reacted to him. What did you mean by the charge? Peter's wiry eyebrows rose. Part of our ability to reprogram is the energy we can create. We're not human. We're different. You think you can freaking control us like little puppets? Like we're your toys? Human beings have been controlled since the beginning of time by us to make their lives easier, to help them do good for this planet. What makes you believe that's wrong? He actually seemed to believe there was nothing wrong with it. With his little, slightly indifferent shrug, she lost her patience. Charlie huffed and shook her head. You're insane. What if I don't agree to this? Put me back. You programmed it. Undo what you screwed up. Couldn't hold it for a few minutes. Suddenly, Peter's face took on a quality which reeked of anything but joviality or gentility. His image glitched. His words became hard. With that attitude, you can be assured I will not help you. This is your home. Congrats. Maybe next time you'll resist taking your dog out when instinct says stay put. He clucked his tongue. I'm not losing my job over you, missy. Not when I'm so close to retirement. You being here, knowing nothing, won't register as a reprogramming error. So, good luck. I'll ensure the rest disappears. Can't have you going around chatting about my error or speaking of this, now can I? And with that, he turned staticky and glitched out. Charlie stared after him, her jaw hanging open. She snapped it shut and turned toward the cottage. Well, good luck. She planned to remember all of it, and she would tell everyone, whether she was believed or not. Memories of that so-called future home, and even the place she came from, slowly struggled to come back. No, damn it! This isn't happening! A rooster crowed in the distance, followed by the lone caw of a crow. The small area she stood in her current life had zero in her mind. She tried hard to remember what she was doing. No memories, no thoughts, nothing whatsoever, and she was forgetting where she came from, who she'd been. Things began to go black in her mind. Why am I standing here? She stared at Loki. That's all she knew. Loki. Also her name, Charlie. Charlie Nielsen. Charlie took in the little cottage in front of her, took in the neighborhood around her. A random bird sang in the gentle silence of the warm day. Where are we, Loki? Loki tugged her toward the little cottage. Home? Yes, this was her home. That came to her. Martha came outside from next door. Hey, Charlie, she called out, rubbing floury hands on her pink apron. Was your walk all right, dear? The scent of vanilla and deliciously gooey chocolate wafted behind her and over to Charlie. The forester's rooster crowed in the distance. Martha paused, noticing the confusion. Oh my. Sweetheart, did you forget things again? Charlie nodded. I think so. Martha waved her over. Come on, dear. I'll fill you in over some milk and cookies. End of Mr. Finkle's Grave Error. Read by the author herself, Kimberly Sue Iverson. How did this story come about? Here's what I shared in the back of it. This is from May 28th, 2019. This story came about from two different causes. The first and biggest was that I needed a new story to send into my creative writing course. It was the final exam and they wanted something original. Thankfully, no word count limits, and to see the first draft and the final version. I was also taking a short story course by Holly Lyle called How to Write Short Stories. One of her methods to come up with ideas ended up spurring this idea of girl goes on walk, loses home. I won't go into the details, but I picked the idea apart and it gave me this short story. Since it's a freebie, you're welcome to send to a friend or even list the link on your site if you have one and enjoy it. Or even if you don't enjoy it and want to poke fun at me. That's cool too. If you've enjoyed it, I'd love for you to send me a message and tell me so. I enjoy so much when a reader enjoys something I wrote and lets me know their thoughts. Stop by anytime at my website and send me a hello through my contact page. More to come. Thank you for reading and subscribing. I'm beyond grateful you chose to spend this time with me. What are your thoughts? Engage with me and start a conversation. Just don't be rude about it. And as always, your shares are so incredibly appreciated. Share with anyone you think may enjoy this. Word of mouth is the best form of expanding the reach, so this reaches the eyes and ears of whoever may enjoy it. My donation link, if you'd like to support me and help keep this going, is ko-fi.com/Kimberly Sue Iverson. That's ko-fi.com/Kimberly Sue Iverson. Every little bit helps, so thank you for your generosity. Remember, kings and queens, everyone is fighting battles inside nobody can see. Who are you willing to see today? And who are you willing to let see you today? I hope someone brings a smile to you today, or you can bring a smile to someone else. If you'd like to follow me on social media, you are more than welcome to, and I'd love to connect you there. For Instagram, Facebook, and Threads, I have to use Kimberly Sue Iverson. There is also a page for Redhead Rewriting Reality on Facebook, but for X, Twitter, Blue Sky, Telegram, and most other socials, you can find me under Kimber Bites. That's KIMBERBITES, which is what I normally use. Do you like Snapchat? Feel free to add me under Feisty Kitty. That's FEISTYKITTY. I had originally installed it for a friend, but have since just left it up. I usually try to use the same picture across the board, but you can always ensure you have the right person by checking my website link cave, which is KimberlySueIverson.com/linkcave. Want a chance for your story to be featured? Whether you're an author starting out, published, and want to boost, have a tale of old to tell that has been passed down through family, or just want to share your own life experience, get in touch. Email stories2read@KimberlySueIverson.com. That's stories2read@KimberlySueIverson.com. Small, quaint artful. A white-haired elderly lady, Charity. It's Charlie. A white-haired. Now I got the giggles. You were to be little of God. I can't read that word. Loki tugged her toward a little college. College? No.